Is it time for you to go back into the city? Hey friends, it's Pastor Mike from Fellowship Church. Always enjoy connecting with you midweek. Hope you're having a wonderful week. Know that we love you and pray about you. That thought for you again. Is it time for you to go back into the city? Right about now you're thinking, Pastor Mike, I haven't lived in the city in a long time and now you're telling me I have to move. No. There's a story behind this. If you've ever read through the book of Acts in the Bible, the book of Acts is the story of the early church. It's called the book of Acts because it's really called the Acts of the Apostles. It's the story of the build out of the early church. Well, there's a story in Acts chapter 14 where the Apostle Paul and some others are going into some cities and they're talking with people about Jesus. Now, these people had a very different understanding of God, and they've maybe been reading the Old Testament and some other things. So some of what Paul was saying to them was pretty shocking. The cities' names were Lystra and Derbe. Not exactly sure which city this took place in, but Paul has a pretty decent audience at first, and then some people turn on him because some of the Jews came from another city and they said Paul's a heretic. Didn't take much to whip up that crowd, and the crowd decided to stone him. Now that might not sound like a big deal to us, but in their day, a way of dealing with a heretic is that everybody picks up your favorite rock and begins to throw it at that person. And when you think they're dead, you drag them back outside the city and leave them there. So that was part of Paul's experience on that day. I'm pretty sure that when he got up that morning, that was not part of his agenda. Hey, let's see if we can get stoned today. But the really cool part about the story is that once Paul has been dragged outside the city and left for dead, that's exactly the way the Bible describes it. The Bible then says, Paul got up when he was revived. He somehow miraculously survived, power of God. Paul got up and went back inside the city. Now, if you're not paying attention to the narrative, you might say, well, that's kind of nice. He had to go in and get doctored up somehow. Yeah, but that's the same city where they just stoned him. He went back inside that same city, and it wasn't long before Paul resumed his ministry there. So Paul's inside of a city. He gets stoned for his ministry, dragged outside the city, left for dead. What does Paul do? No, he didn't head off to the next city and think, I hope we get a better reception here. He goes back inside the city. In the next paragraph or so, Paul then says, hey, we must suffer to advance the cause of the kingdom. Friends, that just reminds me of the fact that sometimes when we're living for the kingdom, and sometimes when we're following Jesus, we're going to have our, dare I say, stoning days. Now, I don't think anybody is going to assault you and leave you for dead because of your faith, but it is entirely possible that you may face opposition to your faith at some point in time in this life, and you might even be pushed outside the city. What does Paul do? He goes back inside the city, because in Paul's mind, that city is where God wanted him to be. And friends, sometimes in this life, even when you face some opposition to your faith, it may be necessary for you to go back inside the city. I wonder if there's one situation in your life right now where you're looking at a situation of some difficulties, maybe something that you've even been running from and saying, I could never go back there again. But God's little subtle whisper to you somewhere in the back of your mind is, it's time to go back inside the city. I wasn't done with you there yet. I still have things I wanted to accomplish in you and in other people. Of course, when I was reading that story, I was thinking, yeah, I remember that Paul, earlier in his ministry, he witnessed the stoning of Stephen, a great disciple of Jesus who died from a stoning. I wonder if Paul was thinking, well, if Stephen can do this, I can do this too. And I'm going to live for Jesus until my last breath is gone. So Paul goes back inside the city. Friends, I wonder if there's any place in your life right now, maybe a relationship, maybe something in your relationship with the Lord, maybe something with your church, where, friends, it's time for you to go back inside the city because God's not done yet. I hope that makes some sense to you. It certainly struck a chord in me when I read it. Hope you're having a wonderful week. Hope that God is continuing to speak to you very clearly about all of His plans and purposes for your life. May you know that He loves you and we love you too. Have a great week. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.